Hey, so tonight I am in the process of fixing one of my shirts. It's actually a nicer shirt. It's for interviews. So I thought I would show you guys the correct technique for mending torn clothing so that if you ever have to do this in future, like say if you have something really, really nice that you don't want to throw out and don't want to have to pay someone else to fix and it's really small and you just don't want to get rid of it, this is going to be how you do it. So I've already done about half of this. I did it yesterday. I just had other things to do, so I had to set it aside. But first thing that you are going to want to do is make sure, get this in the camera, make sure that you pick the correct size needle. You do not want to use a larger eyed, which the eye is the hole in it. You don't want to use a larger eyed needle for a smaller or a thinner thread for mending. So we're just going to go with the second one on here. And we only need one of them, so you're going to go back in. And then because I don't want all of my needles falling all over the place, it usually comes with tape. Most of the time the tape comes off. You can always put another piece on yourself, but make sure that when you're done, instead of just like throwing it back, you do actually turn it to the side so none of the needles can fall out, and you secure the tape back on it. This one, I gotta put new tape on that, but it'll still, I won't lose the needles that way. And do not be stubborn like me and actually utilize the little needle threader that comes with your sewing kit, because it's a lot easier to shove the hard wire metal into your sewing needle than it is to try and fight to get a relatively soft and much more flexible piece of thread through it. We're just gonna get our thread out. And I do use a quite longer bit just because I would rather always have a little bit too much thread than too little. Also, bonus, if you use a threader, you don't have to worry about actually cutting this. You can just bite the end off and it will snap on your teeth. Yeah, just get a little tiny bit of this through. You do twist it just because that will make it easier. It won't fall and you don't have to worry about losing anything when you're threading it. Just pull it through. And then do try and get these pieces lined up. I'm kind of lazy. I just like line the end up and then I fix the other side after. And then wrap it around your finger 2-3 times. Instead of trying to actually tie a knot, just twist it on your finger like that and pull. And you will have a pretty much perfect knot every time. If you want to cut the little tail that comes with it, you can. If you don't have to. It's not like anyone other than you is going to be seeing it in the end. But then, okay, so I've already done this step, but basically when you are mending, you cut the two sides of the fabric if there are any frays on them, which there were in mine, so I did have to trim the frays off. And then you take a different piece and you actually pin it underneath, because instead of sewing the fabric to each other, like going across, what you're going to do is you're going to actually sew the pieces, or sew one side to the pin side, take out the pins, and you will line up the other side, and you will also sew it onto the back piece of fabric. That way it will be much stronger when you're doing it. And you can actually see, this is where I did it on the other side. This is the back of it. There's my little L-shaped seam, and then on the front, anyone, unless they are looking very close at my clothes, they are not going to see these stitches. Normally what you want to do is get thread that is the same color or as close as possible and will match your garment. However, because this is a tie-dye shirt, even though it's a dress shirt, it's like a tie-dyed dress shirt, it is both black and white. That was impossible, so I'm just going to use white thread and make the smallest stitches that I possibly can on it. And always make your knot on the back side because that will be noticeable. So we're going to just do this. And then we're going to do a little loop on it. So how we'll do the loop is we're going to go back through our original stitch and then go to the next one, and then create another one going back in without pulling it taut first. And then as we're bringing that other one in, we're just going to wrap the thread twice around the needle. I don't think this is standard practice, it's just what I do, but it secures the thread and creates an extra knot in it just to help it stay. And then we're just going to very quickly do running stitches, which is just poke the needle pretty much in and out in very, very small spots like this, multiple times. Pretty much as many as will fit on the needle is what I do because I'm kind of lazy. I don't want this to take me all day. But as I said, when I started it yesterday, I did have other things to do that were far more important. So yeah, and then after you have all these stitches, like this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 or 7, we're just gonna take the thread or take the needle and pull it straight through to the end. Go to the end and then pop, loosen the stitches, and I am halfway done with this side already. And these stitches are all relatively even and small. And then I'm just going to pull one more time on here to make sure that everything is the way it should be. Pull it back again. Also, as you're doing that, you can take out the pins so they will not stab you in the fingers because they're just there to hold the thread in place. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing one more time. Just pop this in and out a few times. Make sure that it is picking up your fabric. You do not want to get to the end and find out you didn't actually sew your fabric to each other with the spare piece and the area that you were trying to hem up. So yeah, make sure this is nice and small. Do that, and then same thing, pull it right through. And then I am going to do it one more time through the front, going backwards, and that is just to strengthen my hem, because the last thing I want is to throw this in the wash and find out that I have to redo all of this all over again and potentially have it have frayed, because not only did it pull out, but it pulled the stitches out. And then when doing that, remember to actually sew back down first so that it doesn't wrap around it, because otherwise that is going to, again, be very noticeable. And we're not going for noticeable, we're just going for fixed with a little bit. So there we go. And on this side, I will actually sew the stitches individually just because I want them to kind of match with the ones above them, just to make this as unnoticeable as possible, which, yes, if you're looking right at it, someone's going to notice, but from far away or say in an interview, no one is going to be looking at the hem on your shirt if you have done it well with small stitches. And if you have used a matching or as close as possible matching thread. So yeah, do that, and then we're just going to do it again on the other side after matching that bit of fabric up to it. And then when it's done, I am going to be cutting off the excess. Just so it doesn't have extra to snag in the wash. And I'm not trying to bulk up the cloth too much. I'm just trying to get this fixed. And then on this side, when we were doing the last bit of stitch, because it is going to go through to the other side of the fabric, instead of having to cut this and go all the way around, which would be a huge waste of time, I'm just going to make like a small line of little stitches going from this side to the other one right there, just because I am trying to be as smart as possible on this and not give myself extra work. And then we're going to pin this, and where the hole is, we're going to pin this fabric right against the other piece. That way, when someone looks, that's all they're going to see. They're, for the most part, if they're not looking close at it, they're not going to be seeing the stitching. They're just going to, for the most part, it's a little tiny bit. It's unavoidable because of cloth color again. But most people aren't going to be paying attention to that. They're just not going to see a hole. And this is on a sleeve, on my sleeve corner, so I'm really not worried too much about it. Just as long as it all fits together properly. So I'm just going to pop this in while keeping everything tight in my hands. Again, pop this one in right next to the end where the first one finished. And there we go. Now all I have to do is seam around the second part, which will be very easy. I'm just gonna add extra one or two, just I want to make sure that it does go past the seam joint where the two ripped pieces are sitting next to each other. And then we're just going to do the same thing again, where we very quickly stitch it up and then go right back with it so that everything is doubled over. And I'm trying to get a little bit more than 6 on here this time, just because I'm lazy. I like to do my sewing quickly. When it comes to running stitches anyway, I like to do my running stitches quick. I don't go in, out, in, out, in, out over and over again unless I absolutely have to. It's just a waste of time, waste of energy when I can get it done quicker. All right, now I'm just gonna finish this last little bit up. And this one I might have to do the stitches as singles. I'm hoping I don't. I hate doing stitches as singles, at least for stuff like this. All right, I'm going to join this to the other piece that I previously hemmed. Pull everything out tight. Remove my pins because they are now no longer needed. And because this is the second part of it, I am just going to make a loop knot again on this part, since I want this to be as strong as possible, especially when it goes to wash. I do not want to have to hem it again. I honestly absolutely hate hemming, but I do it because I need to, because I like having nice clothes, and I'm not gonna buy a shirt that is relatively nice. Oh, also, at the very end of this, I am just going to make 1 or 2 loops over it because the way the fabric lined up, it did leave a little gap, and I don't want a gap in my hem for the shirt. So I'm just going to do 1, 2, and 3. You can see this is where it has been hemmed. This is where my little loop is, where the fabric wasn't wanting to stay down. There, try and get that closer for you. That's how it looks like very, very close up, but from far away, it's barely going to be noticeable, which is what we want. So yeah, I'm just going to double back on my stitches, add another knot on the back now, and we will go down. In fact, I might not even have enough thread to do that. This is also why I said make sure that you overestimate your thread. The last thing you want to do is run out of thread before you can tie a knot. Though I will show you a trick at the end of this for if you come very close to running out of thread, because it looks like I'm about to, and since I'm about to, I will take advantage of it to show you guys the trick. Again, we're just going to line and overlap these stitches so it's not a clear, noticeable line in it. Okay, so this is going to be my last one, and then I am going to do that overlap trick. So what you do when you are low on thread like this is all I've got, but I still need to put a loop knot in it, is I will actually pull back on the fabric, get the thread through both sides, just wrap it around it again twice, and first one fell off, fucking thread. There we go, 2 loops. Push this all the way out, just get the needle through. Then we are going to loosen the stitches right back up the way they were supposed to be, and then pull the thread through, and your knot is secured. And then you just, where my scissors go? They're there. We just cut it off, take out the needle, and there you go. Nothing poking out on the top, everything is secured, and because you do have the extra cloth on the back, it is not going to wear out as quickly as it otherwise would have. And if you liked seeing this, I did actually learn how to do this from Bernadette Banner's Make, Sew, and Mend book. I will leave a link to her book in the description and a link to her channel, because I did not just know how to do this on my own. I had to actually learn how to do it, and she does give, for all the skills in her book, as well as reading instructions, step-by-step visuals for everything. And please, if you see this and it helped you, please go to her channel and give her a like, because I did learn how to do it from getting her book, and I don't want to just take credit from another YouTuber. Even though I am showing you my tutorial would not be possible without her book and her effort and me having discovered her channel. So yeah, but like my page if you want to, my videos, leave comments if you want, and yeah, that's about it. I hope this was helpful.